What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Crown Stag voiceover. My name is Neil Glasgow. It's stupid o'clock in the morning, but this has been playing on my mind a little bit last night, so I kind of wanted to get it out. Now, stick with me on this video. I'm going to tell you two stories in order to tell you something that's really important to a very specific community within voiceover. Now, the reason I'm going to tell you the two stories is A, so that you know that I have professional credibility and lived experience for what I'm about to say. So, with that in mind, let's get into it. Okay, so this video is really about people with disabilities working in voiceover. And this has been playing on my mind since yesterday because as part of a couple of chat groups that I'm a part of, the topic of neurodiversity came up, and it really had a bit of a weird impact on some of the people that were talking about it. Some people had no idea about it. Some people were sharing their various lived experiences, and it made me realise that actually, do you know what, this is a topic that I know quite a lot about. So, tale number one, as it were, story number one, professional experience. So, outside of voiceover, I actually do and have consulted for many, many years with really large organisations, nationally and internationally, about hiring, training, developing people with a neurodiversity. So these are individuals who, autistic, aspergers, dyslexia, dypraxia, that sort of thing. People that the wider society may deem to have a disability, be differently abled, be able to or not able to conduct themselves in a normal professional manner, okay? That sort of thing. And basically what I do is I'll go into an organisation, help them develop a strategy and a project and a delivery that says, let's look at the capability of an individual rather than their experience. Can we train them up? Do we understand what their particular requirements are? So does someone have an autistic difference with ADHD, something along those lines? And how do we get them from A to B? Make sure that this is a real job, a high-paying quality job, but we have to train them, develop them, and ultimately also change the context of how the business itself works and supports these individuals, much as they would with any other person within the business. And I've been doing that for over half a decade, about 6-7 years at this point. And I'm maybe one of a handful of people in the UK who have done this, okay? And I've done this because I've had the opportunity to do it, and I champion working with people with neurodiversity within the workplace because, why wouldn't you? There's a whole raft of reasons, but that's professional context. Lived context, the lived experience, so I am dyslexic. I have always been dyslexic. My particular brand of dyslexia comes down to spelling and writing. Spelling is a very difficult thing for me, and my writing is chicken scratch, basically. My school teacher wife has commented that I have level 3 writing, all very much in jest. But yeah, so I have had this lived experience. So from about the age of 12, 13, something along those lines, when I got my diagnosis, and bear in mind, this is when dyslexia wasn't a thing, and then it was a thing. I essentially went from, fairly, top groups in school and doing quite well to immediately I'm in the remedial classes. I had one-to-one help. I was getting laptops and everything thrown at me. But what that diagnosis gave me was support academically, which a lot of people with a neurodiversity do enjoy. But from a professional standpoint, as soon as someone learned that I was dyslexic, I was treated as if I was disabled, remedial, essentially. And into a professional context, it was always a negative impact. So I developed strategies and methods to hide my dyslexia, essentially. So what that led to was me overcompensating in other ways. So my lexicon became vast, to the point where I had people complaining that I was using too fancy words. My understanding of language is absolutely fine. My ability to spell, pants. Which meant that I had to actually understand how I learn. So I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn by doing. Give me a textbook to work through, my eyes will bleed. I'm absolutely terrible. If I can see how someone does something, if I can actually do it myself, then I'll learn, I'll pick it up. That's great. And we'll come back to this point in a second. But in learning how to mask and hide my particular brand of neurodiversity, I learned that I had other things. So I have a touch of ADHD. I have a touch of pathological avoidance disorder. So I procrastinate to no end. It's a pain in the backside. But I'm aware of it, and being aware of it is part of the thing. So I tell you all this so that I can tell you this bit. I've worked with and spoken with, from a voiceover perspective, and this is all about voiceover. Over the last maybe 18 months, I've spoken with maybe about 6 or 7 individuals with various neurodiversity and disability elements trying to get into voiceover. And of course, I've worked with this community for a very long time, and I am part of this community. And the reason I wanted to do this video is it came out in this group that a lot of people really struggle, to get started in voiceover, but also that their perception of, or how they will be perceived rather, their perception of how they will be perceived is always in a negative connotation or in an embattled connotation. I have to fight against to get this. And largely, that's due to, again, lived experience. And I can relate to that. Now, I always say in my videos, you can be a voiceover artist, and you can absolutely be a voiceover artist. That's not a tagline. It's more of a reminder to myself, and it resonates with you guys in the community. And the reason I say that is my lived and professional experience tells me that there is always a route to market for you to get into whatever it is that you want to get into. And is the path the same as someone who's neurotypical? Probably not. Possibly not. But is that path blocked to you entirely? No, absolutely not. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier that I'm a kinesthetic learner, and that was a massive thing for me to understand of how I understand new concepts, how I learn new concepts. And some people, learn by absorbing information through books, through audio, whatever it is. A key element for yourself is to figure out how you learn. Now, whether you are autistic, have aspergers, or various other things, combinations of this neurodiversity is a very complex landscape. Understanding how you, as an individual, get to market is a very important thing. And finding out what your particular market could be is a very important thing. Now, I know that I don't compete in various markets where I may struggle. I have an accent. I'm not going for adverts for American Super Bowl, for example, right? And someone that I spoke to maybe about 6 months ago was someone who had a speech impediment, had MS as well. They had a very thick Glaswegian accent and were incredibly good at voiceover. And one of the concerns that they might have had was their ability to get into this and their acceptability into this area. And the reality is, are they going to land all the same adverts or audiobooks or whatever that someone who doesn't have those barriers faces? Maybe not as many, but there is something out there for that person. And for any of you who may have various similarities. And that's the big message around this video. It's about finding out what you can do and how you can get to market knowing your barriers. And all of us, myself included, have barriers. And the way that I at least tackle that, and the way that I encourage people to tackle that, is figure out your route to market. So let me give you a very good example from today, from this morning, because I've been up against some stupid o'clock. There was a story on BBC News this morning about I think he's a French horn player who is now part of the Bournemouth Philharmonic Orchestra. This man has no arms. He plays to an international level with his feet. Right? Sounds really impressive. And I encourage you, go find him. He's really impressive to watch. And part of the interview was people saying, well, don't you find that really hard to do? And he's saying, well, no. I've never had arms. I'm looking at you with your big long digits and thinking, how the hell do you do that? How do you hold a pencil? That's a big thing. And you've got He has practiced and practiced and practiced and practiced for years. And anytime anyone said to him, you can't do it, he went out and did it more. And he's looking at everyone else going, well, I don't know any differently. So why learn the way to do it better than you using my feet? You don't do that. And that's kind of the mentality you need to have. You need to say, right, I understand how I am. Not my limitations, never limitations, okay? You understand what your life is, what your requirements are, and you need to understand how you learn, okay? Then you need to figure out how to get from A to B. And if there isn't a predefined path that you can follow, you are going to have to figure that out. That man did not know how to do that, and no one else taught him how to do that by playing with his feet. People who can't use their legs can drive because someone figured out how to engineer a car that you can drive with your hands. It can happen. And if you want to follow your dream and your passion to get there, you need to figure out what it is needed to get to that point. And if the tools don't exist, then you need to invent them. You need to be that trailblazer, and I encourage you to do that. And any help I can provide, any help any member of the community can provide, Reddit, Discord, whatever, do it. And I promise you, the more that you do it and the more that you talk about it, you will find your community. And people will resonate with the things that you're saying. And I realized after this chat yesterday that, do you know what, I've got so much experience in this, and I kind of normalized my own experience, not really thinking to myself that I had to hide and disguise and compensate for other people's prejudices around my condition of being a dyslexic. That's not good. And actually, because I had normalized that, I hadn't realized that actually I have a lived and professional experience that I could maybe pass on to you guys and to encourage, if nothing else. So I appreciate you, if you've watched to the end of this video, indulging my stories and my beliefs. I know this is not a massively voiceover focused, but if you want to get into this industry and you are part of this community, and believe me, it's massive, this community. It really is. And more people who are neurotypical are actually very much neurodiverse. If you've liked the video, give me a like and subscribe. Please do jump onto the Discord channel and the Reddit channels and any other channels, comments, all that stuff. I'm here to help. I will give any help and experience I can, but also the community is there to help and support you. You can be a voiceover artist, can figure out the way to do it, and you will be successful. I'll see you in the next video.